What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy, Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. So we start with Tyreek again. This time, he's not in trouble. We're just talking about Tyreek. GM Chris Greer came out recently and talked about the prospects of trading Tyreek. And he said, definitively, the team's not looking for it. This is all gossipy news. We're not trying to trade Tyreek. But then he said, I guess if someone offered us 2 first-round picks, we'll consider it. Listen, y'all know I'm here for the Dolphins all day. This is nonsense. Right? There's not a single receiver in the league, to me, worth 2 first-round picks. That's Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, you name them. No wide receiver in this league is worth 2 first-round picks. A 31-year-old Tyreek Hill, for sure, is not worth 2 first-round picks. This is ridiculous. All right, this is try to get people off your trail. This is maybe posturing like, yo, we're so locked into Tyreek, we don't let him go. This is an absurdity. I only brought this story up because I thought it was hilarious, right? Like, and then the fact that he didn't say we will do the trade, it's that we'll consider like 2 first rounds. What picks though? Oh, like 24? Can't do it at 24. Like, what are we talking about? Like, if someone said we have a 3rd and a 5th, we'll be like, 3rd and a 5th, you say? Like, what are we talking about? I don't know if Tyreek's getting traded or not. I think the market for receivers is kind of weird because receivers are coming in the league now and they're really good really early. Malik Neighbors was great last year. Brian Thomas Jr. was great last year. And if you can draft a receiver in the late teens, early second round, and they just become borderline all pros, 2 first rounders for a receiver that you know at best has 2 more years at this level. I'm not saying he can't play into like 34, 35, 36, but Tyreek's game is based on speed. So as the speed wanes, he's going to become less effective as a receiver. He can still be a very good receiver, but he's not going to be the guy he is now where defense is back 20 yards up off the ball to avoid over the top. Like once he can't get past you, it's like, all right, he's just kind of like a fast slot receiver, right? But I thought it was a funny story. We don't have to spend more time on it. I thought it was ridiculous, and we can just move on. So we've been talking a lot about the first round picks, and I haven't put this in any of my mock drafts. I haven't talked about it until now, and you don't really see it a lot. And I was wondering why Jalon Walker is not seen as a possibility for the Dolphins in the first round. So if you don't know Jalon Walker, he was a linebacker mostly, occasional D-end for Georgia. And we know what Georgia players do. Just look at Philadelphia because they all play over there, right? Georgia players are tough, great against the run, usually leaders, especially the linebacker. They make linebackers that are like leaders, the Roquan Smiths all the way to now, right? There's just something about the way they do what they do in Georgia. And this same thing with Jalon Walker. Everyone's like, oh, he's a legendary leader, galvanizing agent, very much like I'm the face of your defense. He has that kind of energy. But what he also is, very good in pass rush. He's not as good as Micah was in college because Micah technically is a linebacker, right? But Micah was a good pass rusher at Penn State, and then when he got to Dallas, they just said, we don't like having you play off the ball. So they just kind of put him at full-time DN. I don't think Jalon Walker has full-time DN in him right now. He actually is more of a hybrid. And y'all know how I like multi-talented, multi-versatile players. He's a linebacker that can rush the passer. He is not a defensive end that plays linebacker, right? You have to kind of pick a position. I think he's a great blitzer. I think he's a really good third down rusher. He is not the guy you line up and say, go get me 20 sacks, right? But could he get you 8 to 10 based on blitzing and third down rushing? Yeah. While also getting you 120 tackles, while also being solid in coverage. Not like lockdown Luke Kuechly elite, but to be fair, Luke Kuechly is probably a future Hall of Famer. But really good in coverage. Very instinctual on the run game, though. Like the way he gets downhill, the way he gets off blockers. Because again, he's not the biggest guy in the world. So if you get your hands on him, you could jostle him up a little bit, right? He's strong at the point of run stopping. But if you're a 300-pound offensive lineman, you can move him, right? It's not his bag. Also, if you're an offensive tackle and he's rushing off the edge and you can get to him, you can move him. But if he's fast enough and athletic enough to get past you, that's where the pass rush works, right? So our linebackers are, it's not the biggest concern for the team, but I don't think anyone thinks that we're really good at linebacker, right? It's more like we're deficient at defensive line and we have questions in the secondary. I think we just kind of think linebacker is good. We're fine, right? And so maybe I think that's probably the main reason why you don't hear his name more often because it's not the highest position of need for us. Um, I don't. I guess I don't know who our defensive captain is going to be going into next year. I guess Big Zach might be on the D line, but I think he's an interesting player. I like tweeners. I like, especially if we trade down, because at 13, I think that's probably high for him. If we trade back 3, 4, 5 picks and he's there at 18, 19, I don't hate the trade. I love the ability to rush the passer. Everyone knows how valuable that is. I also like someone as a tone setter on defense. And you have to be able to stop the run. I know teams want to go past running gun, shooting offenses, but you have to stop the run. I don't care what they tell you. Like last year, it was Saquon, it was Derrick Henry, it was Josh Jacobs. It was running backs. We're still running the league last year, even though we always think about wide receivers. If you could run the ball, you change the game. So I don't see him being a possibility unless we trade back and he somehow falls. Because I think there are teams like Tampa that would take him. I think a team like Arizona would take him. And they're all in those teen picks. So if we trade too far back, like 20, 21, 22, I don't think he'll get past all three of them. Unless other people start falling, then he's kind of like waiting for it. So I don't see it as a real possibility, but I think he's a really good player. I think it's interesting to think about. I think the next player I'm going to talk about is a much more likely player, but there's some issues to concern. So we're talking about Will Johnson, as I tease for like 4 seconds. Um, so y'all know I was very high on Will Johnson. I thought he's like a baby version of Jalon. Strong, really good in the run, really good in zone defense. There's been some issues recently about Will Johnson. More scouts are getting to his 2024 film, and he's got a lot of injuries going on right now. He had turf toe a lot last year, and so his stats last year weren't as good as the 2 years before. Had he come out last year, he probably would have been, maybe borderline top 5 pick. Now he's looking at somewhere between 10 and 20. So didn't drop off too much because, again, the tape is very good. He had turf toe last year, and it has not healed well enough for him to really be performing, right? He wasn't at the combine. He missed his first pro day, rescheduled it, and then still didn't run the 40. Because the whole thing was the tape showed not elite fast. Probably fast enough to do the job. We don't know that you're a burner, right? And that's really important at corner because almost all receivers are fast nowadays, right? So the idea was, show up at the combine. Came to the combine, I'm injured. Cool. Michigan Pro Day. Still, I got a nagging injury. Let's reschedule the pro day to April 13th, a few days ago. Redid the workout, no 40. Still didn't run it. Did short shuttles, 10-yard things. Numbers weren't great. Basically, they put his numbers against most of the corners at the draft, like the top end 5 or 6 corners. He would have been last in most of those categories, right? And he said he had a hamstring injury, which is concerning. Allegedly, this is reporting. No one's putting a name on the bullet, so we don't know. They're saying that he was running 40s prior to like the scouts and stuff getting there, right? And that at times were like in the high 4.5s, low 4.6s. Obviously, abomination as a corner. It's like if you're running 4.6 as a corner, we're basically going to move you to safety. I don't know what we're talking about. And now again, turf toe, hamstring injury, probably. I don't know if you've ever had that injury before. I have. You almost subconsciously are slowing yourself down when you have a hamstring injury because you don't want to fully let that leg go because you think it might rip and might tear. I don't know how severe the hamstring injury is. The fact that he's not doing his 40 when he knows his draft stock is on the line tells me fairly severe because he thinks if I run full out, it's going to drop my draft stock basically, right? Hamstring injuries are a nightmare. Hamstrings and groin take forever to heal. So frustrating. So if it's holding back his running, and that's the number one concern, your injuries and how fast you are, that's the concern. Because you don't know when that's going to heal, and before the draft, we won't have any record of how fast he is, like in terms of testing. It's only the tape. And the tape shows really good in zone, really good when you can see the quarterback, really good breaking the ball. Not as good back to the quarterback, running with the receiver deep down the field. So the tape shows may not be super fast, no testing to show us otherwise. And he's hurt right now. And he was hurt last year. So, I mean, a month ago, I thought he was DB1. I mean, outside of Travis Hunter, who I put in a different category. But outside of Travis Hunter, easy DB1. Could go as high as 5, as low as like 10. And now I'm seeing him drop into the late teens because people are really concerned about his injuries. his skill set fits what the Dolphins need. The fear about how good he is in man is concerning because a lot of teams in the NFL, you can't play, you can't blitz the way a lot of teams want to blitz, and then not play man, right? Like, or if you play in zone, you're just giving up free money all over the place, right? At some point, you got to play man defense because if we put extra people in the box, if we're blitzing two people, you got to play man. You can't afford to play 15 yards off the ball because it's like 4th and 2, and we're blitzing everybody. You can't afford to back off. You got to be able to be right up on the receiver to make the throwing angles more difficult for the quarterback. And if we don't feel confident you can guard one-on-one, then we can't really have you on the field a lot, right? You become like a nickel or a slot kind of guy. His skill set at the apex is a starting corner, possible future Pro Bowler. His injury concerns have you thinking he might fall and maybe fall to a really good team. But I don't know. I hope he gets healthy. I like him as a player. I like his skill set. He's a very good run stuffer as a corner. Y'all know I like that. But multiple injuries when he's had, a few months to really get conditioned for these workouts. No combine, no pro day, like reschedule a pro day. Didn't impress in the second pro day. I think his draft stock is on the downside, and I think Jade's is probably rising. I see him as being now the next corner in line, but we'll see. The draft is coming up soon. But as always, guys, we appreciate the love and support. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing and all that good stuff at Dolphins Daily. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.